This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shasheena Rolle. As always, it is so great to have you with us. In just 2 days, thousands of residents are set to mark their X in the gambling referendum. Tonight, the Parliamentary Registration Department is informing residents of their right to vote and reminding residents in the East that there are a few changes to the polling station. On Monday, citizens throughout the country will head to the polls to answer 2 questions. Do you support the regularization and taxation of web shop gaming? And do you support the establishment of a national lottery? As many prepare to partake in this historical gambling referendum, the Parliamentary Registration Department is informing residents about their right to vote according to Regulation 8 and subject to Paragraph 2 of the Parliamentary Election Symbols and Time Off. Every employer shall permit each employee who is registered to vote to be absent from his work on polling day during the hours of the poll for 2 hours in addition to the normal meal hours. But this 3-hour time period does not apply to an employee who will report to work on polling day at or after 10 o'clock in the morning or concludes at or before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No employer shall make any deduction from the pay or other remuneration of any employee or impose upon or extract from him any penalty by reason of his absence from his work during the period specified in Paragraph 1 of the regulation. Any employer who contravenes any of the provisions of this regulation shall be guilty of an offense and liable on summary conviction to a fine not exceeding $1,000 or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 6 months. Now, in Grand Bahama, there are 5 constituencies. East Grand Bahama has a total of 5,172 registered voters, Marco City 5,603, Pine Ridge 5,103, Central Grand Bahama 5,700, and West Grand Bahama and Bimini 5,586 registered voters. Voters in the 5 constituencies are asked to report to the same polling stations as in the May 7th general election, except for one small change. Residents in polling divisions 1 will vote at the Sweetings Key Primary School. Residents in polling division 2 will vote at the High Rock Primary School. Residents in polling division 3, 4, 5, 13, 14 will vote at the Maurice Moore Primary School. Residents in polling division 6 will vote at the McLeanstown Primary School. Eligible voters in polling division 7, 9, 11, and 12 will vote at the Freeport Primary School. Residents in polling divisions 13 and 14 will vote at the Freeport Primary School. The polls will open at 8 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. Well, it is a full-court press now for the 2 opposing campaigns as they look toward referendum day. Now, the local Christian community has heightened its campaign with a view of convincing voters to buy into the Vote No message. Joan Davis-Rolle reports.
They have come with one voice.
There's only one answer, and that's no. You know, full stop. No.
Our position is to vote no in this referendum because it dishonors God, it violates our national principles, it creates social vices, and we believe that this is the wrong direction for our nation at this time.
We are encouraging everybody from Abaco in the north to Inagua in the south to go out to the polls. If you believe in God, and if you believe in the church, and if you believe in the Bible, we are encouraging you not to stay home. This is too important an issue for you to stay home. We're encouraging you to vote no on referendum day.
We feel as Christian leaders that the no vote is the only vote to go if we want to maintain our Christian heritage and also to kind of establish the right direction for our nation and the youth of our nation.
Pastor after pastor say they are all united for a common cause and are calling on Bahamians to not take a chance on numbers but to take a chance on God. A chance, they say, where there are no losers and the only choice which ensures victory.
We believe firmly that no sends a message that we are dependent on God, not on numbers. And so the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. So he is more than enough to supply all of our needs according to his riches and glory.
In keeping with the principles that we see in God's Word, no is the appropriate decision to make on Monday the 28th of January.
Come the 28th to vote no, because we still believe that righteousness exalts a nation.
Joining the local clergy and making a passionate plea was reformed gambler Nelson Bain.
This gambling that is being discussed and talked about all over our community and in our homes and wherever we go, it's like a tax on the poor, and it's a heavy tax. And being a ex-gambler myself, I know the negative things that comes along with it.
Joan Davis Rolle, ZNS Network News.
While on Grand Bahama this week, ZNS News spoke with former Deputy Prime Minister Cynthia Mother Pratt to get her take on Monday's referendum.
I'm not interested in that at this point in my life. I have to live my conscience, and I have to vote my conscience, and so I'm not delving into that, but I have to live with me and my God, and so I will vote based on my view of my God, what I'm to do, and so I'm not getting into all of the other riffraff. Everybody must vote their conscience, so that is how I feel about it. I'm voting my conscience, and I've never supported it, and I never will. That's my vote.
In other news, the Minister for Grand Bahama meeting with an executive of the Grand Bahama Port Authority today to discuss some of the troubled traffic spots in Freeport area. Motorists have expressed concern about two locations in particular, and now the Ministry of Grand Bahama is attempting to find a resolution to these concerns. Natalie Martinborough reports.
Dr. Michael Darville says complaints have been made at the Ministry of Grand Bahama regarding safety concerns at two major intersections on the island. The Minister for Grand Bahama says he is working along with the Port Authority to address these issues.
Since the passing of Hurricane Sandy, our office here at the Ministry of Grand Bahama has had numerous complaints from the residents as it relates to the traffic light at the junction of Queens Highway and the Fishing Hole Road, particularly at night. When shift workers have to pass that junction, there is a lot of instances that are being reported that we feel must be addressed. There's also the additional problem at the junction of West Atlantic Drive and John Tinker Road. That continues to be a concern for many residents because there's a preschool in that area, and after school there are issues.
Vice President of Building and Development Services at the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Arthur Jones, admits that the malfunctioning traffic light at the Fishing Hole Road and Queens Highway should have been fixed a long time ago.
This traffic light has been a bit of an embarrassment for us because immediately as the storm passed, it had damaged the light, some parts were damaged. We ordered the part right away, and we are most frustrated that it has taken as long as it has to have that part delivered to Freeport.
Jones says that light should be functioning by the end of next week, but says the situation at the intersection of West Atlantic Drive and Adventurers Way, that's just in front of Freeport Bible Preschool, is a more complex situation. He believes motorists misjudge the speed of oncoming traffic, and as a result several recommendations have been offered that will require help from private citizens.
We are going to have to relocate some trees that are there. We may ask the power company to relocate a power pole that will assist with our lines of sight. If necessary, we may have to put an island in the road to divert some traffic that are eastbound coming away from the preschool. That is to force persons not to attempt to cross that road at that junction because they misjudge so often.
Jones says the traffic situation at the West Atlantic Drive Adventurers Way location should be rectified within the next 3 weeks. Natalie Martinborough, ZNS News.
Stay with us, there is more right after this.